In following, we'll be using the triad correspondences graphic from the triad, our nature of body, mind, and spirit, to language, and from there to the brain, and how we represent it by way of this triad. So it will be good to have it handy. Thank you very much. Hi chicos and chicas, this is Mr. T from Garner Beds, your friendly JJ. Science by Triads 101.2, Self, Correspondences Self onto Triads. In the previous video entitled Science by Triads 101, Reality, Language, and Triads, we must have mentioned four things. That we are body, mind, and spirit, that reality is captured directly within us, that it is mediated through language as communicated to others, and that the triad serves the purpose of packaging it all in a bundle of sorts. The triad as such is just a representation of our very nature as well as of everything around us, so to speak. What we'll do in this video entitled Science by Triads 101.2, Correspondences Self onto Triads, is make the correspondences more explicitly between the triad that we are of body, mind, and spirit, and language, and the brain. And finally, scaffolding it all by way of the triad as represented through the original primeval Pythagorean theorem. What the triad does is make the connection explicit between our own human nature, language, and our brain. We will use the examples of ordinary language using an English short sentence, as well as using an equation from classical physics. The sentence is simply John is tall, and the equation is the formulation of Newton's second law of motion, F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. Even though these two are evidently different languages, that of culture, English, and that of nature, mathematics, other than that, they are essentially the same as far as the triads are concerned. And that's the beauty of this method. The analogy is that the subject of the sentence, which ordinarily starts off a sentence, John, would be spatially on the left side, and equally so is the F force on the left side. The object, tall, which ordinarily ends a sentence, is placed on the right side, and equally so would be ma, mass times acceleration. In similar manner, we could say that the verb is and the equal sign would be found in the middle in both cases. The point in all this being that the left sides of the language expressions, those written from left to right, as is the case with English and science, would correspond to the subject, while those on the right sides would correspond to the object or adjective. In the middle, to the action or equal signs or equivalents, respectively. The match that we make with the sides of the brain or hemispheres is that the so-called left brain has to do with counting, all the while the right brain has to do with what counts. Now, the subject as substance is what counts, be it John or F force, what we're trying to define and understand, whereas the object or adjective tall or ma times mass times acceleration are what is counted, say quantitatively or qualitatively. They're also called accidents. In the latter case, mass is measured on a scale and acceleration with time clocks and meter sticks. The next and final step is to select the vertical side of the right triangle to represent the right brain, what counts, or the spirit, whereas the horizontal side we would match with the left brain, what is counted, or the body. In the hypotenuse we would identify with the midbrain, the mind, with what is the interface. A caveat is in order here. Out of habit, I started using the right triangle as if looking at it from the back, so to speak, with the vertical side on my right side, though it actually corresponds to my left side, as you all know. In a nutshell, the left side of the sentence or formula corresponds to the right brain, to the spirit, to what counts, to the vertical side of the right triangle. The right side corresponds to the left brain, to the body, to what can be counted, to the horizontal. The mid-center corresponds to the midbrain, to the mind, the interface, to the hypotenuse. We'll see a display now. Well then, this is just the first link of Science by Triads 101. You need to watch all of these videos to get the whole picture. In a later video, we'll be talking about the actual teaching of science, be it physics, chemistry, or biology. and by extension to the other core subjects of social studies, mathematics, and ESL taught at the middle and high school level, and college for that matter. Some will be straightforward, others not so much, but nothing will be on the test, because there's no test. So don't worry, just enjoy. What we do here in these videos is simply expose the cornerstone of the science in question. The details of the actual edification of the scientific edifice would then follow by dialogue and consensus within the respective community. Have a good day.